all make
choices. But in the end,
our choices make us.
So choose wisely. Subscribe to It's Erik Nagel
wherever podcasts are found. And leave a positive review, won't you kindly?
Now, all of those people who are in prison right now were kids once, just like you. They went to school and they had girlfriends, boyfriends, they played baseball, rode their bikes, just like you. And then somewhere along the way they did something wrong, something dumb. Maybe it was getting mixed up with a bad crowd, or maybe it was shoplifting or stealing a car. Whatever it was, it probably started small, became bigger. Maybe they even got away with it at first and thought they'd never get caught. But they were wrong. Now, they're in prison. Now, prison isn't any fun and it isn't any joke, so play it straight, gang. That way you'll get where you want to go, not where you don't. Right?
It's Erik Nagel. It starts now.
What up, my Nagel? 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 Talking about George R.R. Martin, not writing. Talking Marvel versus DC, who's more exciting? Talking George Lucas's legacy, high-scoring centipede. Talking Gittles' new beef burrito recipe. Talking about Stephanie McMahon versus Sable. Talking about the Cybermen versus the Weeping Angels. Don't blink, the dialect's more deadly than you think. Talking summer ale, blueberry pale, craft beer, pouring drinks. What up, my Nagel? Deadpool 2 features cable. Talking Funko Pop, celebrity signed a label. Talking online gaming, bitching and complaining. Talking E-Rock, kissing the feet of Matt Groening. Warner Brothers properties, Superman's a mockery. Weird Al concerts, Kevin Smith's debauchery. Rick and Morty fun zone. The Lego build team, can I have your attention? Possible Donkey Kong kill screen. What up, my Nagel? What up, my Nagel? What up, my Nagel? What up, my Nagel?
Ladies and gentlemen of the universe, the next voice you hear.
It's Erik Nagel.
Hello and welcome to another edition of It's Erik Nagel. That is me. We are sans Matt OG today. He had some family stuff he had to take care of. But over in the upside down is Gittles.
What up?
And he might not be there for much longer. Looks like he's moving.
Where am I going?
Aren't you moving?
Oh, yeah. I am moving. Yeah, so I'm moving to the right side up.
All right, so we'll get there in a second. And then our producer, Trevor. I've had some people write to me saying, even though we've stopped calling you Trevor and Dever, at one point somebody called you Trevor Dever. And people have been saying they like that better.
Trevor Dever?
Trev Dever or something like that.
Trev Dever was
Trevs
the
and
double.
Devs.
Yeah, Gittles was stuck on Trevs and Devs. Trevor and Dever, I think, was when we said I was going to be a 007 character.
Right. But people like calling you Trev Dever.
Trev Dever. Oh.
Trev Dever.
Well, good for them.
That could be good on a porn star, title screen.
It sounds like an extinct dinosaur that someone found. Like, we found the long-lost Trev Dever buried here in the.
It sounds foreign.
Oddly, very
Trev
large
Dever.
with weak arms. Welcome to the program. Lots to do today. We're in the ramp-up for the big Avengers Infinity War Part 1 coming out this weekend, which we'll discuss a little bit later in the program. Lots going on. Kanye and Trump, Cosby, some stuff going on at SiriusXM we'll touch on for a little bit, and so much more. So Gittles is in the middle of moving, you said. Where are you heading to?
I am heading a whole 2 blocks away from where I currently live.
Okay.
So it's not too bad of a move. Suckered some friends into helping me tomorrow, so that's nice.
Yes, I'm not one of them.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to come out, I can still find a way to guilt trip you.
No, I'm good.
You want to haul out to Brooklyn?
I injured my back. It was really bad. You could come help me.
From moving?
No, just from injuring it.
Just living life?
Just living life. I mean, all day at work, I'm just constantly picking up heavy things, bending over, and I just tweaked it.
Right.
I went to a stretching class that was supposed to help me fix my muscles, and it broke me. I was like, I need to stretch. When the stretching class breaks you, you need to stretch.
But maybe
That's what it comes down to.
it. What is that? What are some of those dumb female philosophies? Oh, you have to be broken in order to be put back together the right way.
Yeah, that's what they say. But do you ever break something and then try and put it back together and have it be exactly how it was? Nope. I'm the vase that fell off the table, and then they just threw a bunch of glue on it, and they're like, "It's a vase," and they're like, "No, it's not. That's a pile of shit."
You're the brick fire pit that Homer tried to build in the backyard.
Oh, so now I'm going to be like a street artist, have an umbrella stuck in it, and
yep.
Yeah. All right, I could do that.
Just weird patches of cement filling in every hole.
Ugh, gross.
So when do you officially move?
I officially move out Monday, but they haven't really found anyone to take my room yet at this apartment. So, like, I don't know.
That's
like,
not your
everything's,
problem.
no, it's not my problem, but I don't think, like, if I don't get out right away, I don't think it's going to be a big deal. Like, my landlords are slumlords, so it's not like they're coming by to check anyway.
Right.
So we'll see what happens.
We can move the whole studio there, and we'll actually have a studio space.
Pick that mic up and put it right
here?
There you go. Yeah.
It's got. Speaking of weak, tiny arms.
The thing that's nice is the new place I'm having, I'm going to have a lot more room, and I'm going to be able to set up a much better system for our connection here. So even though I will be in the upside down, to me, it will be the right side up.
Right.
I want to point out at this point, I want to thank everybody that's helped us with the eBay auctions that
Yes,
we did.
thank you.
We did 2 rounds. They were very successful. We do appreciate your help, and hopefully you enjoy those items. I don't know if we're going to do a 3rd round yet. We may not. I don't know if it's going to be necessary at this moment. But the money that we raised off those 2 auctions, we're going to help support the show as far as some equipment upgrades and some server costs. And the first round of, I guess, items that we've purchased is that when Gittles moves into his new place, we're going to have a bit of a better studio setup for him over there. New microphone, new headphones,
We can rebuild him.
We're going to rebuild Gittles over at his new place. So that
Can you make his back stronger?
So that I'm going to tape a broom to your back, and
sweet.
And then you'll be good.
I can do that.
Think of the lumbar support.
We're going to. We just bought some new equipment that we're going to set up in Gittles' new place next week when he's all set and moved in. Then we are going to do the video server, which might be why we may have to do a round 3 because it's a little bit more expensive than I thought it was going to be.
So we have to wear shirts when we do this?
We do, and pants, and in the right order. So we're going to get.
See, it looks like I'm wearing pants because you can't see below the waist.
Right. Don't you hate pants?
I hate them.
The new server that'll go in there, so it'll allow us to do either our own server or Twitch. I think we're going to probably do Twitch at some point.
Yeah, Twitch, why
and
not?
set up there, and
Yeah, definitely.
All the cool kids are doing it.
And then that'll be set up too, where the people can either donate to us directly, or they can, they have subscription things on there. We'll expand the programming as far as Twitch goes. We'll do the show, and then we'll all have the availability to turn on the channel whenever we want, so that this way, like when Gittles is exploring all the cool stuff that he does in Brooklyn, he can just turn it on and start streaming right away. Same with Matt. Maybe.
I don't do anything cool, so that's fine.
All right, so then Trevor's not getting access to the channel. But, those are things still to come in the future. So just wanted to say thank you.
And I will probably go live a lot on that Twitch. Like, when we get that up, I'm probably going to go live a lot.
Please
so
do.
Get ready.
Then we'll incorporate our gaming and everything in there. So when we're all playing
Fortnite
or Overwatch or whatever, when we're all together, I can just start streaming the channel.
I'm mad, by the way, that I wasted precious Xbox time with you. We got to get into that today.
All right. That sounds very hurtful, but
no, we just
Wasted
played
precious Xbox time.
I know.
We spent a good amount of time downloading PUBG and then playing it, and it was just god awful.
We'll get into that.
We got to get into that
we'll
later.
Get that a little bit later. So thank you everybody that helped us with the eBay auctions. We may do a round 3. I got some other stuff that I'm sure we can put up there that people will enjoy. Also want to give a special thank you and shout out to our pal and friend of the show and friend in real life too, Chad Dukes, who hosts the afternoon show on 106.7 The Fan down in D.C. He's the co-host of Big O and Duke's show and the Rodcast show. And Chad helped out in the auction. He won. He was very generous with what he did. He won a poster that I easily could have given him an extra copy of. But I was glad to see that he won that auction. And he helped out on a few of the others, too. He was bidding on some other items, but some people were just going insane with the bidding, so he kind of leveled out at some point, which, it happens. But thank you very much, Chad, for helping us out. We do appreciate it. He also opened up a new store down in the Fairfax, Virginia area called Commonwealth Dry Goods, and it's everything but alcohol down there. But it's all cool stuff that's not unique to that area. So
I thought it would have been like a Con Air thrift store or a gift shop or something like that.
I'm sure. Look, give him time. They just opened. He may remodel, and then you walk in there and you're like, "Oh my God, it's a movie set."
Yes.
But no, he has a lot of products at his store that are not normally in that area. He has them from different areas that you can't normally get access to. So like the big thing down, he loves this thing called cheer wine, which I'm not. I don't
Oh,
think
the
I've
soda.
ever. Yeah, the soda. I don't think I've
seen that
ever
before.
had it, but it's something from down south that they love.
Okay.
Somebody told me that it compares to like drinking a Shirley Temple or something
Yeah,
like that.
that's very similar to what it is. It's like pink. It has like an old timey label. I've had it before. I think
Okay.
somebody actually brought some to us at Sirius during one of the barbecue shows.
Really?
Yeah,
All right.
I'm fairly certain
So maybe
someone
I
brought
did
it
try
for
it
us, and we
before, I
didn't
didn't
really
remember.
like it.
Okay. Well, that doesn't help. So, but he sells Cheerwine. Like I know it was important to him to be an official,
Dispenser.
not a dispenser.
I don't know.
Distributor of that product. But that's what he did. He went and picked a lot of different things that he likes that aren't normally in that area, and he's selling them all in his store there. So if you're in the Fairfax, Virginia area, the D.C. area, go out and check out Commonwealth Dry Goods and support Chad, and because he supports us. So thank you very much. We do appreciate that. All right, moving on. Do you want to do Cosby? Or do you want to do Trump and Kanye? What sounds good?
I mean,
Let's do both at the same time because people won't
they're
know what
all
we're talking about.
All right, we'll start with the Cosby thing since that just broke at the time that we're recording. So Cosby had been charged with sexual assault by it was like 50 different women, or it could be more. I apologize. But an enormous amount of women have come out
More than one.
and spoken against Cosby. A lot of the stories very similar, and it spans back decades. And he goes to trial, and it was sort of deadlocked, and it was thrown out. It was thrown out, right? The original trial.
It was a mistrial.
Mistrial. So they filed a new trial, and that went on. And today the verdict came out that he was found guilty on 3 felony accounts. And it's all based on this one story, or this one victim from 2004. Now, I'm reading the things from the Cosby attorney side saying that if it only happened a few months, or the claim was a few months earlier in December of 2003, it would have been over the line of restriction that they couldn't have charged him on it. I said, who puts that out? That is so petty. When you're losing this case and you're being charged with horrific things, they're saying, well, if it was only 3 months earlier, we wouldn't be here dealing with this. It's like that's not a viable defense.
Yeah,
if your defense is
it could have been a technicality.
We almost made it under that timeline.
Yeah,
that's not
the
a
statute of
defense.
limitations almost would have run out.
Then
and
we would have been fine.
Yeah, we wouldn't have had to deal with this. But he comes out of the court case, and it's 3 felony counts, which look is very disturbing. This whole situation, it's very hurtful to not only the people that were unfortunately involved in this case, but to the fan base of Bill Cosby. People for decades grew up with Bill Cosby. I grew up with Bill Cosby. I don't know about you guys, but I remember him on The Electric Factory. I remember him on. Was it The Electric Factory or 3-2-1 Contact? One of those shows. And then he started doing, the Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids. Then he did Picture Pages and The Cosby Show. And I had, and I still have over there all the vinyl copies of his comedy albums that I grew up on. And I don't know, can you put, just like in any of the other cases, like the Louis C.K. case, can you put the comedy aside from the tragedy? Can you still enjoy the comedy and the shows that he did, knowing what he did?
I don't know.
See, it's weird because, like with Louis C.K., you saw him like live stand up. That's actually him. Like it's his comedy, mostly like his personal stories, and he wasn't really playing so much of a fictional character. Like Cosby at least was playing a fictional character, and like if you look at,
but I don't have a problem listening to Louis C.K.'s comedy.
Well, I don't either, but I think most people might and do.
I still enjoy his specials. I still enjoy his CDs. I have them all. I did not throw them out.
No.
And compared to what Cosby did, Louis C.K.'s thing is very low on the scale. Even though these organizations and the media try to say, no, it's all equal. It's like, no, it's not. It's not anywhere near what Harvey Weinstein did. It's not anywhere near what Cosby did.
Yeah, like it's very
you just
fucked
jerk
up,
off in front
but
of
it's just
girls?
not the
Exactly.
same.
That's exactly right, Gittles. It's fucked up, but it's not as bad as what it was. Because Louis was, hey, can I do this in front of you? No. And then he did it anyway. Or someone,
which is extremely fucked up.
Right.
Like, you don't
it's
do
very
that. Like,
inappropriate.
it's really fucked up. And like, I have to say, like, you know what? If you did it, you deserve whatever you get. But like as you said, like there's still jokes that he has that are really funny, or I think about whenever something happens, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's still true,
Right.
You know,
it is. But in the case of Cosby, it's very serious. You know, these not only the accusations, he's been convicted. 3 counts for one particular scenario. And now it's like, can you, in this case, this is very important and very serious, can you separate the two? Like, I don't think they'll, and this is going to suck for the people involved with this thing, but I don't think they'll ever syndicate the Cosby Show again anywhere. Like,
God, no.
You know, like Nick at Night used to pick it up certain times, you know, every other year it would show up for Nick at Night or whatever, the TV land.
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to see that anymore. And then if the actors on that show got residuals from that, they're going to lose a ton of money. And that sucks for them. For their whole body of work is now tarnished because of one person. And that whole cast and crew had nothing to do with it. You know?
It's like the Seventh Heaven. The whole cast of Seventh Heaven, they stopped getting checks.
Yeah, but Seventh Heaven was not anywhere near the infamy that Cosby Show was.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure they've already made like a ton of money off of like DVD sales and everything, and I'm sure that they might even have something in their contract where maybe they'll get something out of it. I don't know, but I mean, that just sucks. That's something that happens, and like I don't know. I have friends who refuse to see Baby Driver just because Kevin Spacey's in it because of everything that happened with him, and like so to think about that versus over 50 rape accusations, and like most likely, yeah, he probably raped all these people. Like that's really fucked up. Like I saw Chris Rock. He came, not Chris Rock. Bill Cosby. He came to my school in 2003 and did a $2 show. It was him and Chris Rock. Chris Rock opened the show, and then Bill Cosby followed it.
That's an amazing ticket.
Yeah, it was a really awesome show for $2. But like I'm thinking back to the Bill Cosby jokes that he told, and I'm like, yeah, that's a funny joke about you having to, build an airport for your daughter so she can get accepted to college. It was a whole thing of like, oh yeah, some people donate libraries, and in your case, your daughter needs to donate a fucking airport because she's that stupid. And like I think back to that joke, and I'm like, it doesn't really hold up against possible 50 rapes. Like it doesn't really hold up for me.
Well,
like squiggle pen.
As disheartening as this was, and I'm not saying it in the sense and in the case of like that I thought he was innocent. I was hoping that this turned out to not be true. What it was. I was hoping that
you were hoping 50 people didn't get raped. Yeah.
Yeah, it was exactly. See, this is where it's so weird because I don't want to say I was hoping that lady was lying and that these things were false or whatever, so that Bill could walk away from it. But in a way, I kind of was hoping that the information wasn't accurate because I had a love for that guy, and an admiration for that guy that I grew up on and grew up with.
I agree with you because I really, and it's not in the same league, but it's the same thing with Kevin Spacey. Like I really like him as an actor. I really like in a lot of things that he does, but I was kind of hoping it wasn't true or wasn't as bad to the degree that it was because I like Kevin Spacey. But
see, even in the Kevin Spacey,
Cosby's this is the 50 rape things on a different level.
Even in the Kevin Spacey, that's a whole separate situation from the others because Kevin wound up admitting it.
Yeah,
for that one boy that he said he was. I forgot how young he said he was, and Kevin in his apology letter was pretty much openly is like, well, if I did that, I'm sorry. Where...
But then he also said, well, I'm gay or something like that, and tried to say, like, blame it on being gay.
Well, no.
That was like the second letter.
Yeah, he tried
two statements, I think?
Everybody always kind of knew that he was, or at least bi, right?
Yeah.
And he threw out the gay thing at that time to try to soften the damage that was going on, and the gay community even got mad at him. It's like, you can't bring that you can't come out officially.
Don't bring your pedophilia in here.
Right.
Like, what the fuck, dude?
So
it was like Spacey was young, but the kid was still underage. Like he was like 17 or 16. So that's still
he was like 14 or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the kid was ridiculously young.
Yeah, and Kevin Spacey was old enough to know that.
Shoved his hands down if I'm remembering this right, shoved his hand down the kid's pants.
Yeah.
Did he? Oh, I don't know.
Forgive me if I got that wrong, but I think that's what the story was.
I'm gonna look.
And and then Kevin wrote this apology or came out with this apology where he was pretty much admitting it. Like, if I did that at the time, I'm sorry, and not denying it.
I think the kid said, like, Spacey was drunk or whatever. He's like, that could have happened, but I don't know if I was drinking.
But in every other case, this is why, again, the Spacey case is unique. They're all unique cases. You can't lump them all in together.
True.
In the sense of that they're all exactly equal. Like the Spacey thing, he came out with the apology and then said, look, I'm sorry. And then it's like, holy shit, he admitted it. Then he threw out the gay thing to try to soften the blow, and that didn't work. And if anything, that made him more of a villain, because now you don't have the gay community and the activists behind you supporting you on anything. Cosby, had all those women against him, but he denied everything to the fullest. Same with Harvey Weinstein. He's denying everything to the fullest.
Spacey's up to 15 accusers. Who knows?
Yeah, you don't really hear
about that
publicly
story
right now, but...
Isn't that terrible how much messed up stuff's going on in the world that's like on the bottom grade of a story?
That's not entirely true. Last week they did say something about the LA prosecutors were now think they may have enough to actually make a case against him or something like that.
Yeah.
And LA, New York, and London are still trying to get a case against Harvey Weinstein, which they haven't officially yet.
Oh yeah, Harvey's coming up.
They're still working on it. But all these cases, look, they're horrific things, and they shouldn't have happened. But they're all not the same, even though sexual harassment and all this stuff, they all do. But it's different degrees. Like, if you shoot somebody and you kill them, all right, that's horrific. But if you go and you shoot up 40 people and kill them, that's even more horrific than the one person that shot one person. Not saying that it's totally different, but they're not the same.
People are going to argue with that on that.
You can't treat the guy that shot 40 people the same as the guy who shot one person. The guy who shot 40 people is much more severe than the one person.
Taking a life's taking a life. One guy just does it
right, but it's different degrees. I'm not saying you can't treat all this stuff across the board as being equal. It's all got to be case by case.
I feel like that was a bad example, but I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I feel like that was a bad example, but I understand what you're saying.
Why is it a bad example, though?
Because you're talking about taking life. Anytime you take more than one,
both are wrong.
Life is a life.
Both are illegal, but one is more damaging than the other.
I'm gonna look at if somebody was like, I killed one person, someone killed 40 person, I'd look at both of them the same way, like, you're both murderers. You know what I mean? Like,
it
doesn't. I know, but like,
but you're the same level of hatred. I feel like the same. Yeah, I mean,
but say depending on the state or wherever the laws are for where you're being tried for killing one person, right? Say there's enough evidence that kind of makes it a little iffy or whatever, and you get a lesser sentence for shooting one person, right? Say you get 15 years. All right, the guy who shot 40 years is not going to get the same trial and the same everything. I mean, the same sentencing. No, sorry, not the same trial. Same sentencing for shooting 40 people as the guy who shot one person.
Well, because generally the people who shoot 40 people end up dying after they shoot the 40 people. Like, they either kill themselves or the police kill them. Like, right. You know what I mean? Like, when was the last time we got one of those people in?
The Toronto
guy. Other than Parkland.
Yeah, that Toronto story. Because that just happened in New York this past summer. Remember?
October.
Yeah.
No, it was October? Was it?
Well, it was October and the summer, because it was the guy
on the West Side Highway.
And the guy in Times Square.
And the guy in Times Square.
Right, okay, right.
Who we never heard anything about after that one time, which was so fucking weird. Like, not to change subjects here.
The guy in Times Square?
Yeah, dude. Like, it was like a story for like half a day, and then no one talked about it again. And it was weird because the guy obviously was like foot on the gas, running over people in Times Square.
Yeah,
I think that one was cut and dry. They just like
because they were patching in security videos from all these different buildings to show the story and the timeline what happened.
Yeah.
The guy on the West Side Highway went up on, like the guy in Toronto, went up on that sidewalk. On the West Side Highway, there was trying to run over people, then cut across in through the
That's the same thing the guy in Times Square did. The guy in Times Square drove on the sidewalk, dude. He drove right down the sidewalk, like mowing people over.
Yeah, that's true.
He did the same exact fucking thing, but he didn't. I don't think he killed anybody. Maybe he killed one person.
He killed one person.
Like
yeah, you got one.
But we didn't hear about it after that. Like, who was this guy? Like, why?
Well,
did
that's
he do
where
it?
I bring
like,
my
I'm
old
so confused.
That's where I bring my old point up is that there's so much messed up stuff in the world. It's like that's terrible.
Let's move happening too fast. The news is happening too fast to keep. Like way back in the day.
I think you brought that up last week.
That when you'd had a news story going, all right, case in point, really old story, probably predates you, or maybe around the time that you were born. There was a story in the 80s called about this girl, Baby Jessica, who fell down a well, right? And the news
sending our love down the well, all the way down.
The girl fell down a well, and it was a worldwide news story for weeks, and I think it lasted a couple of days. The actual well incident when they finally dug down and got her out of the well. But I'm saying that back then that story stretched out for the longest time. Right now, the cycle moves so fast that shit. It's like whatever's popular right now, all of a sudden it's got to be pushed back right away. It's like we got to get to the next thing. We got to get to the next thing.
There's no follow up. Yeah.
No, there's follow up. You just may not see it in the sense of, CNN News Alert, where all of a sudden it's like, remember the guy back in October who ran down people on the West Side Highway and then cut across the highway into that school area? Well, here's what's going on with him. Like that, you don't follow up until, boom, all of a sudden, hey, he's been convicted and he's sentenced to jail. It's like, I didn't even know the trial was going on.
Yeah.
It's a little.
Not only you're like, I don't know the trial is going on. Like, I almost forgot that happened. Like, it's that crazy.
Yeah, it's that quick. Like, if something happened tomorrow with Harvey Weinstein, would that trump Cosby?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Cosby be off the news.
Well, Cosby's
kind of the same.
Cosby's like he's in the finishing
Here's what
throes of his.
Here's
now.
what's happening with going back to the Cosby thing. Thank you for bringing it back. Here's what's happened. So he had 3 felony accounts. He doesn't do a public statement. He does. His lawyers do out in front of the courthouse. Now, I want to say this before I get into the rest of it. When they're reading the sentencing, right, the prosecuting attorney then says, we want to have bail denied for Mr. Cosby because he could be a flight risk and he has access to a private plane. At which Bill jumped. He hadn't said anything at this point. He jumped up in the court case and started screaming, and you can look it up, he doesn't own a plane, asshole. And that's all over the news right now, is that Bill jumped up and screamed at the prosecuting attorney saying that he doesn't own a private plane. So whatever the bail was set at, he paid the bail and was issued leave to his home in Pennsylvania, right outside of Philly.
Where he promptly got on his private plane and flew away.
His portal to another world. Elon Musk. He went back to his private suburban home outside of Philly, and he has to stay there. He's going to be issued a GPS device that has to be on him while they still try to figure out the length of his sentencing, because he could face up to 30 years in jail. But if he does go to jail, they said they're going to serve all the sentences together at one time, so that he'll do 10 years and that'll count for 30 years. If he goes there, his attorney came out in front of the courthouse, said that they're still they're going to go through the appeal case and everything else, which will delay his sentencing and everything else. But he'll be stuck at his home. He's not allowed to leave Pennsylvania, and he'll have that GPS thing on him so they can keep tabs on him at all times. So that's where he's at with all of this, and they're going to fight it. It's just a very sad day that this even had to happen. It's even sadder that he was convicted of this, and
it's not sad. Good for him getting convicted. Dude, the guy's a fucking rapist.
It's sad.
Like, it's not, dude. Sorry, like, it's not sad. The guy's a fucking rapist, dude.
Okay.
Sorry. Like, I mean, I don't have any of that attachment to him, but like,
that's the problem.
It's not sad, dude. Like, I'm sorry. Like, it's not sad that a rapist got convicted.
All right, I'll rephrase that. It's not sad that he was convicted. It was sad that it happened, and that this is the outcome of it for somebody that I've grown up with and admired. You know,
I don't know.
it's very hard.
He was a father figure
difficult
to a lot of people.
But I loved his comedy albums. I still love his comedy albums, and despite all of this, like growing up, I still have the records that were my dad's. The originals in there, and I have all the digital copies of him talking about. The stories about Fat Albert and playing Buck and making those wooden go-kart things down the hill, and just his stories about growing up and everything else there. I loved his stuff, and it's just really disheartening that this is where everything turned out to be.
Yeah, it sucks, but after he told you that story, he went behind a curtain and raped someone.
Yeah, like, what I mean? I don't know. That's weird. I don't know. I just don't hold anyone in that kind of regard where I'm like, I get more upset. Where I'm like pissed. I'm like, that's fucked up. Like, you're a piece of shit.
You kind of get more pissed because it's like he lied almost to you.
Oh, yeah.
If I were you, I'd be more like, not like if I held Bill Cosby in that same high regard as you did, I'd be more pissed.
I'm upset about it. I'm upset about when I watched the thing happen live on TV today, and they said, "Here's the the ruling, I did get mad at that point. I was like, God damn! Like I was really pissed that.
But you're not pissed at him. You were pissed at the ruling. I feel
no, not pissed at the ruling. I was pissed that this confirmed 100% that he did all of those horrible things.
But like, what if they said not guilty? Like then, like, would you have thought that he didn't do all that? That's what I'm confused about. That's because
I don't know.
So many people accuse him. Like I wouldn't like if he
that's
got,
the law,
if he got off, I would have been like, okay, well, obviously, like someone got paid off or something. Like because there's no way that many people lied, and it's not like this is something new. This was like something that Hannibal Buress talked about in his stand-up. He's like, guys, this has been on the records for years. Like everyone just forgot about it. You know, like this wasn't any new story. It was just more people, like, because he talked about it, it came back out.
Right.
You know, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel
I think
really
it's just
horrible.
Like, it's just one of those weird.
You're just kind of
one of those weird things.
And because it happened a couple hours ago, I feel like you're just more shell shocked than anything.
Well, because you don't want to believe it. You know,
I don't want to believe OJ did it, but he did
happened, and I'm not saying that it isn't. It's just it's horrible to know for 100% fact now that this was real.
It's horrible to know that any human can do these things.
I think without the verdict, I would have believed it was 100% real because I wouldn't have doubted that many people.
I doubt that. Doubting that many people, I get that, but I also don't doubt that there were that many people looking for money. And it could have been a totally different case.
But, you know,
I can look at it one way.
Just nitpicking at this point, you know.
Well, no, he can't get past the fact of 50 people saying he raped me.
Right.
Where 50 people being money hungry bitches, I can believe that too.
Yeah. But that's treading very difficult waters, you know.
I don't
say that.
I don't buy that.
Well, yeah, neither did the jury. Hence why we have this legal system.
Do I think that, you know, in all that cases, maybe one or two of them were just, you know, milking it a little bit? The odds are probable, but I can't say for a fact that I know that to be the case. I just find this whole thing about what happened to these women and then what happened to the legacy of this man now because of what he did. It's just a lot to take in, you know? Like, if this was anybody else that I didn't really have a fondness for or such a big part of your life for, I don't know if I'd react the same way. You know, like if this was about Carlin or if this was about, you know, the Matt Groening, if this was about anybody else that Weird Al, you know, that I had a big fondness for and it really made up a lot of what I am, then I would feel the same way. But if it was for somebody that I didn't have a connection to, I don't know if I'd feel as bad for the situation as I do.
It's like, you know, like in England, they had this story with, what was his name? Jimmy Savile, like the TV host.
Right, yeah.
And like, he was like he was a Bill Cosby type person. He was like a national treasure. This guy was knighted. They had a statue to him.
Yeah, hold on before you go further.
Yeah.
Just so Trevor knows, the area that he was buried in, the park, they had a huge, obnoxiously large monument to this guy. Like, this guy could, like, almost like if the king or queen had died. That's how ridiculous his funeral was, the celebration of this guy, the monument there. And then I'll let Gittles continue here.
And
how many bodies were in the basement?
Well, not bodies, but it turned out that he was just a serial child, like, rapist. And like he worked with all these kid shows, and you know, they found out, and he was convicted of it, I believe, and they basically like scrubbed the history books of him. They're like, nope, they tore down the statue, they got rid of like everything, they like unknighted him or something like that. Like, it's crazy.
They knocked that thing down. Like, remember when they invaded Baghdad
and they pulled down the Saddam statue?
People went out there and started to destroy this thing. Really?
Yeah, like. And this guy was like a huge, like just big, like beloved person. It would be like if Mr. Rogers was like turned out to be like a child predator.
This is
you know
only
what I mean?
one part of it. Look at that. That's just the headstone.
That is a big headstone
for his grave. That's not everything else that they built. But look at that. People were going there and just starting, you know, with sledgehammers and stuff, just starting to smash it on their own before I guess the government had to come in and pull everything down.
Yeah, but like they didn't even know about it till like after he like passed away, and the first charges that were brought were from 1958. So it's just like you can go way back on this stuff, and
like the Paterno thing.
It counts. It doesn't matter how long ago it happened. It still counts. Like the Golden State Killer they just caught in California. Like that was from the 70s. Like it still counts.
Well, yes and no. And here's something I've been learning from the news today. They had a talking head on for one of the panel things, and they were from Canada, and they said had these accusations of Cosby's actions been in Canada, he could have still been tried for all 50 accounts. But in the United States, when it comes to crimes of a sexual nature, there's a statute of limitations on it. But like what Gittles was saying with the Golden State Killer, for murders and things like that, there are none. But in a sexual case, there are.
Yeah.
So the Golden State Killer, which, by the way, they found the person thanks to the help of Patton Oswalt's late wife book.
Yeah, Michelle McNamara.
Yeah,
like,
she wrote a
book.
book. She's been following this case for the longest time, wrote a fully detailed book with a few other people, and this book has led to them figuring out who the guy is and the capture of this guy. Right.
And they think that, like, the book, like, actually led to it happening. Because, like, I guess, like, the last line of the book just told him to, like, walk into the light, to, like, you know, just free yourself from this or something, like, to that degree. I don't know. I'm paraphrasing what I read. But yeah, it's crazy.
Right.
Like I think she was like investigating it for like over 10 years. She was an investigative journalist. She was really smart. Like it's really crazy.
Yeah.
But like it's nice that she was vindicated, you know, like for after her untimely death.
Right. But in that case, you know, they could still do that in a case of sexual abuse and crimes of that. There is a statute of limitations. Where in England, as he brought up Jimmy Savile, even in post-mortem, if that case can be active, it can still be, stuff can be done with it. But not so here in the United States.
But I was wondering if, like, remember the episode of Rick and Morty with the jelly bean that molests, like, Morty?
Yeah.
From season 1, the King Jelly Bean, when they go into
he goes into the restroom just to use the bathroom.
Oh, yes. Okay.
And then at the end of the episode, after the credits, and they're like, look what we found in the Jelly Bean's closet. And it was like all the child porn stuff. And they're like, and I was like, I wonder if that was a reference to like Jimmy Savile, you know what I mean? So it was just like, what do we do with it? And they said, burn it. And like, cause it's better to have the image of what he was than what he actually was. You know what I mean? Like it was like kind of weird thing. Cause it was at the statue at his gravestone. So I was wondering if that was a reference to that.
Could be. I don't know. I didn't even think about that. Well done.
Yeah.
Well
I don't know.
done.
I could be. I don't know where I'm.
So that's where we're at with Bill Cosby right now. So he's been convicted and of 3 felonies, but they are going to fight an appeal. So we'll see where all that goes. Moving on to other craziness.
It's a deep show so far.
It is. The Trump-Kanye stuff, which I am thoroughly enjoying because of the psychoticness of this whole situation.
You're gonna have to fill me in.
Okay, so Kanye West.
This is real life.
Kanye West.
Let's preface all by this. This is real life. Everything we're talking about is happening.
This is the
I
real
live in a
life.
hole, so someone's got to keep me updated on this.
This is the real life. This isn't fantasy. Caught in a landslide between escape and reality. I'm switching the lyrics, but it fits.
You threw me off.
Yeah, it fits here. So Kanye West has not been quiet about his support for Donald Trump. In 2016, with the presidential race going on, there was that press conference he had where he went to visit Trump at Trump Tower.
That was awesome. I've never seen so many. There was like foreign diplomats that would meet him. No one would give a shit. But Kanye's in the lobby.
Kanye's wearing a black sweatshirt, and they're in the golden black lobby of the Trump Tower, and Donald Trump's taking photos with him and what have you.
That's like when you yell like there's sandwiches in the coffee room and you see everyone run down the hallway. So Kanye's in the lobby. Oh shit, let's go.
Get out of here. So lately, Kanye's been more and more vocal about being pro-Trump and wearing the Make America Great Again hat. There's that video clip.
Yeah.
You see him where he's just wearing...
I just saw that.
I love the commentary between the black audience and the white audience, because the white audience is sitting there, I'll say the liberal white audience, sitting there, saying, how the hell what is Kanye doing? I don't get this. How can he support Donald Trump? Blah, blah, blah. Then you read the black comments, and one guy goes, yo, if you're going to wear that, you should at least wear a fitted hat. I'm like, Jesus Christ, it's all over the board of what the commentary is for this whole thing going on.
Those
it's mostly negative against it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unless you're conservative, like a conservative like pundit online, in which you're like loving every second of this for some reason.
The hip hop culture and the black audience are not enjoying Kanye being pro-Trump, because Kanye has also been stating a lot of things wrong with current black culture and current culture in America to begin with, about how everybody's doing everything wrong. Do you have any other details on this that you found interesting?
What? No, I just think it's fucking stupid. Like, I think it's just what it is. It's two people on the planet who are the most full of themselves and just the most full of shit. Just like having like just tweeting to each other, and it's just stupid. Like I don't. It's not news. Like there's far more important things going on. Like I think it's interesting though, and a lot of other people have like said this online that Trump has like retweeted that Kanye is endorsing him and like retweeting all this stuff. But hasn't like tweeted one thing about the guy who stopped the Waffle House shooting. You know what I mean? He hasn't like tweeted anything about that. But like he'll tweet about Kanye. Like what the fuck? I bet he's telling Kanye right now. I bet you could fucking run for president in 2020 and win. I guarantee you that's what he's telling him.
Well, Kanye did that at the MTV Music Awards. Remember?
Yeah, I
know. He did Kanye in 2020.
Yeah, I think he wasn't joking. Like that's what I'm going at here.
Hey, Kim, you could be the first lady.
I'll tell you this. I would love to see him run.
Ugh.
Because the Democrats aren't going to support him. And if the Republicans do support him, and then it comes down to whether is Trump or Kanye going to be their candidate for the next election, it's just going to be it's like you thought 2016 was a shit show. What's that horrible cliche? Hold my beer.
Yeah.
That stupid thing that they all use. It's like, wait till 2020 comes with Kanye starting to run.
Kanye versus Oprah. You know why I'd want him to win? I would want him to run and have no backing, and then I'd want him to win because both parties suck. I think the whole party system's terrible. We need to break it. And if we have to break it with Kanye, we're breaking it with Kanye.
But the best was it almost went full South Park on Twitter last night too, because he tweeted the whole thing about like respecting Trump and stuff like that, and then a couple of tweets later he's like, my wife told me to tell you guys that I don't actually support everything he did. It was kind of like that Hobbit episode of South Park where he'd like, wait, hold on a second. He was like, hold on, but tell me again how you're not a Hobbit, and then he'd be like, all right, okay, hold on, and he like goes and tells everyone else. That's what it felt like. It's like, oh yeah, my wife told me I don't actually like everything he says. Like, oh my god, shut up, dude.
There's a clip somewhere, since you brought up South Parkish stuff. There's a clip somewhere where Trey and Matt are talking to somebody, and it's a serious interview.
Gay fish.
And they were debating about, no, not the gay fish thing. They were debating about, it was about season 21. Because they said they kind of got stuck in a loop with season 20 with Garrison being the Donald Trump figure. He's like, we had to do a story arc through the whole season, which they don't like to do. They like to do each episode based on stuff going on in the news and in society. And he said, we don't want to ever do that again and get stuck in a story arc where we just keep going with different things. They were doing season 21, and he says it's getting to the point that the world it's like we can't even make fun of it because it's doing exactly what we're doing on this show. And he goes, now our show is just reflecting exactly it's like we've become a mirror image of what's going CNN. On. And it's like, how do we make this more absurd? Well, we really can't. Real life is outdoing what we're putting out there.
I hope this season they just kind of play on that, with everything in this show just happening so fast you can't pay attention to what happened the week before because it's just pandemonium. Just like have everything just in top gear. Like, oh, that would be awesome.
It'll move from Simpsons did it to South Park did it. South Park did this whole thing. It's like, oh my god, they predicted the 2020
Mr.
election.
President, how should we handle this? I don't know. We'll see how Kenny handles it tonight.
Yeah.
The other thing with Kanye is that, so he's been going crazy with his pro-Trump support. And I don't know if you've seen this, but John Legend sent him a private message to talk to Kanye about what are you doing.
Something tells me it's not so private anymore.
Yeah, because Kanye screen capped it and posted it on his Twitter to show everybody what people are doing to him. Right?
Oh, I think he lost a follower.
He's tired of people accusing him of controlling his free thought. All right. So John wrote this, and he goes, "Hey, it's JL, John Legend. I hope you'll reconsider aligning yourself with Trump. You're way too powerful and influential to endorse who he is and what he stands for. As you know, what you say really means something to your fans. They are loyal to you and respect your opinion. So many people who love you feel so betrayed right now because they know the harm that Trump's policies cause, especially to people of color. Don't let this be part of your legacy. You're the greatest artist of our generation. That was from John Legend. Now this is Kanye. I love you, John, and I appreciate your thoughts. Your bringing up my fans or my legacy is a tactic based on fear used to manipulate my free thought. He's insane.
Yo, I'm not gonna lie. I'm. It's kind of like when Shia LaBeouf went crazy and I started liking him more. I'm starting to become a Kanye fan.
But Kanye was like, me and Donald Trump have dragon blood. Like, it was like, what? Did he go full Charlie Sheen too? Like, what is happening?
You know, John Legend was just like, oh, he's typing back. The little dots are going. I can't wait to see this long, thought out response.
The article that I'm reading with the tweet here says, Legend's point is that Kanye might be able to afford indulging in abstract free thought, but many people affected by Trump's actual policies, many people who may overlap with Kanye's fan base can't. And Kanye is just tied. Like, apparently there's something going on between him and Jay-Z, because Jay-Z's not talking to him.
First of all, why are we talking about this?
Because it's insane.
Because it's just nuts.
This isn't hip-hop beef. This is real-life craziness.
I mean, Kanye and Jay-Z planned that whole Beyonce and Taylor Swift thing, and then they put the song out together, and they're best friends, and they made money off that, and now they're feuding. They're like the Paris and the Cole of this generation.
Well, they're not feuding per se, but Jay-Z is not said much on it, but it's been expressed that he's not happy with what Kanye's doing. Kanye is a partner in that title business that they have. You know, that online streaming service. So if your business partner, a major business partner, is going nuts and deflecting the image that you want to put out there for your company and how it's represented, you know, you kind of have to reel them in real quick, or else this is going to cost them billions of dollars.
Like Celino and Barnes?
Yeah, and
injury attorneys? Yeah.
Call 888-8888.
Yes, that's very local for everybody.
Is it?
Yeah, I think so.
It's not a national. I thought it's like the Cars for Kids commercial.
I have no idea.
Oh, fuck Cars for Kids.
Anyway, the craziness going on with this has been amazing because, like Gittles said, conservatives are jumping on this bandwagon about how great Kanye is, but they don't know a single thing that this guy has done. They can't say.
They didn't like him in 2004 when Kanye West said George Bush doesn't care about black people.
Right.
Like, I feel like Donald Trump cares less about black people, but maybe that's just me.
No one got screwed more out of that than Mike Myers.
Oh my God, watching that benefit and his eyes just, he's like, I don't know what to do.
And teleprompter, scroll.
His face almost went like the lady when they did the Keep on Fucking That Chicken on Pix 11 or what it was.
Ernie Anastas?
Yeah, Ernie Anastas. It was like almost that, like, ugh, I'm next to this guy.
On Fox 5 Sky Guardian, and then check that 7-day to make your weekend plans.
Takes a tough man to make a tender forecast, Nick.
I guess that's me.
Keep fucking that chicken.
Okay, I'll do that.
All right, when we
live on Channel 5. Also, I want to talk about Nick DiPaolo. For those who may not know, Nick DiPaolo is a very famous stand-up comedian. He's been doing it for a long time. And Nick wound up hosting a show when we were on Free FM in New York City, which was CBS's attempt at doing a syndicated talk network around the country to compete against satellite radio. And Nick did his show in New York on our Free FM station out there until it flipped back to K-Rock. And then Nick has been doing a podcast forever. He's very politically charged, conservative-leaning comedian. Wound up getting a show on our channel at SiriusXM when they rebranded the Opie and Anthony channel, the Opie radio channel, to Faction Talk. And he was on after Opie's show, and then wound up in the switch when Opie left, got moved to a different time slot, but he was still on the channel. So apparently he was off for a little while, and nobody knew why, and then it was revealed that Sirius fired him.
Oh.
And for something that there was no complaints about, nothing damaging, nothing whatever, and they just wound up firing him because of something he tweeted out. And apparently, you know, his joking comments on the air. I don't know 100% of the story. I only know so much. But what is believed to be the reason why he got fired, because Nick said he got, he officially posted on his Twitter account saying that he was let go for a loosely worded tweet. And
what was the tweet?
The tweet was, it says, "Dear future school shooters, please confine yourself to college campuses, specifically the faculty lounges at Berkeley, Fresno State, etc." Right?
That's kind of fucked up.
What that meant was when Barbara Bush died, there was that professor at that California University in Fresno, where she went on a whole thing saying Barbara Bush is a racist. She was glad she died. She can't wait for the whole Bush family to die.
So she raised warmonger.
Yeah, all this like really horrific stuff that she said. And then she started bragging. She goes, I'm on tenure at this college. I'll never get fired. Was tagging the president of the university.
I won't get fired for this
and
tweet.
then she got suspended or something like that, but now I don't think she did get fired. But what that was is this lady was saying really horrible comments at the time when, the first lady had passed away. And Nick's joke is in relation to that, saying that, somebody, if you're going to do that horrific act, why don't you do it at the people at these universities? So it's like two wrongs don't make a right here in this situation.
I'm just trying to find out where the joke is in there.
It's a conservative joke, a conservative side saying if there's people going
to saying shoot that lady.
Shoot that lady.
Like that's right? I don't know, man. That's kind of fucked up.
But here's the thing: wasn't said on air. Number one. Number two, there were no complaints. There wasn't a public outcry. There wasn't liens on any sales or subscriber growth or any of this other stuff. They just out of nowhere said, "Oh yeah, you know what? We're just gonna get rid of you for that."
Well, one of two things then: either they wanted to get a jump on it before something major happened, which is probably unlikely because more from what I've learned from the business is that they were just looking for an excuse to get rid of him. Money, whatever. Like, did his show bill well? Who knows?
Well, the thing with SiriusXM is they do not give a turkey, as Colin would say, or give a care. They do not give a care about the sales for advertising.
So if they just didn't like him, that's it. They needed an excuse to go, oh, there it is. Bye.
They don't care about the... I guess the sales only counts for 4% of what the total income is for SiriusXM. They're worried about their subscriber growth. So the paying subscribers, like an HBO model, are what they're concerned about. They're not worried about the sales. I don't think Nick or that channel bills well at all. Being there myself, I've never really seen the sales department do a whole hell of a lot because they either just put all their major advertisements on Stern or the sports channels or Fox News because those were the biggest per volume channels. Listening, time spent listening. People would listen to those channels the longest. And I don't think it was that kind of thing to pressure them off. So I really don't know. I'm not working there, so I wouldn't have any inside information on it. But it was just weird to see where everything has progressed, where O&A did some stuff on terrestrial radio, and then there was public outcry. It would affect the sponsors and the sales. That would lean towards, getting fired off the air. Other people who have done stuff, Bubba the Love Sponge being one of them. Howard has had some FCC fines when he was on there, but Howard had a company that actually believed in him. So, he wasn't fired, but they paid the fines and fought a lot of it. Bubba had stuff where, he wound up losing his Clear Channel deal and having to go to another company and then got fired from another. He's had a whole bunch of things, too, that he's done on the air. But then you fast forward a little bit more, and then it comes down to the Anthony Cumia firing, where he was fired for not anything he said on the air, not anything he did at the company. It was a tweet where, a heated, worded tweet session that he had after an altercation in Times Square, and that's what he got fired for. So, some kind of morality thing. But people were making a big deal, at least with Anthony's tweets. It was getting news mentions and press mentions. Nick had nothing. There was nothing, and they still did this. So I'm trying to figure out here where, look, I get a free speech issue, but on the other hand, you're being paid by a company. So it's a weird line to walk. Because we talked about free speech. We talked about it on a previous show. Somebody here said free speech means you don't go to jail for it.
Yeah, that's all it means. It means the government can't arrest you for saying something.
Right. Doesn't mean you won't get fired from a company, but it means you won't go to jail for it.
Yeah. I mean, it's...
You got to get up close to that one.
Yeah.
There. Good one.
Thank you.
Contribution.
I mean, here's the thing. if you have a show and you're on Twitter, you're like a public figure. Like, so like you're still representing that company, even if it's your own personal account. No matter what you do,
right?
Like you can't escape the fact that you're a public figure. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
So unfortunately, you just don't have that privacy or maybe luck that other people will have that you can get away with. I don't know. I just feel like if whatever rants you go on Twitter, like you have to think about your job in the long run.
No matter what you do, you have to.
No matter what you do.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Yeah, that's a weird company to work for.
Yeah, that's anywhere.
Yeah, I know, but them in particular now, their whole mindset of way that company runs is much different than other broadcast corporations. Because again, they're not judged, and they're not judged by ratings. They're not affected by sales per se. Their concerns are subscriptions in the cars and people doing the app on the phone now. That's all they care about. So they spend millions of dollars to co-brand with celebrity names and celebrity talent, to spend all this money to put somebody's name on the channel, and then that person doesn't really do anything. Like they may voice a couple of liners, and then they're not there working on this channel. They're gone.
Wait, Ozzy's not there?
No, not at all.
Really?
No, once a year, like Eminem. The Eminem contract. He only had to do 3 hours a year or something like that. So that was the deal. But yeah, they spent all this money on that branding, thinking that's going to bring subscribers in, and then when people go to listen to it, they get disappointed and say, well, this isn't really what I thought it was going to be. Like when you listen to the Pearl Jam channel, they play a lot of live concerts, but when they do their original programming, or people who come in and talk about how they like Pearl Jam or stuff that relates to that world, the Billy Joel channel does the same thing. It's only like a 6-hour, 8-hour chunk that reruns nonstop, and then that's all they do until they can get enough information, another batch of material where they can start running again. They're just not run that well, but is what it is. Everyone thinks that Sirius is a bastion for talk radio, for any kind of radio. It's like you go in there, they're poorly paying their people, and they don't really care about the content that they're putting out unless it's something that they spent millions of dollars to license. And even that, once that channel's set up and established, what's the next thing? And then they move on to the next channel, and they forget about the channel they just launched. Like they move away from it, and then that's when a new channel launches, they go all hands on deck, get all the equipment you need, all the stuff that you need for the channel, get it up and running. Great. We just made another deal with Kevin Hart. He's going to launch his LOL Comedy Network. We're going to rebrand Comedy Greats and call it this. Okay, cool. Put all the resources and everything on this channel, get this channel up and running. Great. Oh, we just signed another deal. Okay, forget them. Let's move to the next thing. Huh. Oh, well.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I feel bad for Nick DiPaolo. He'll probably show up. Look, he had enough subscribers and enough pull, in the comedy world that, he had a pretty decent fan base. So I think he'll show up either on another...
Let's book him for next week.
...podcast network or probably Anthony's network. I think he would fit in well over at Compound Media.
Yeah, that kind of joke, I feel like he'd fit in over there.
Well, last thing before we take a break here. So I mentioned this last week, and I had the Fridays wrong. It's this Friday. But last week, I said that the WWE is going to Saudi Arabia for the first time.
How disappointed were you when you were trying to switch back between Barbara Bush and that? You couldn't get it.
Well, no, it wasn't. It was the Barbara Bush thing, and then there was the WWE thing that didn't happen. But it's this Friday, wherever you're listening to this today, or maybe you missed it, it's up on the WWE network. They're doing what they call the Greatest Royal Rumble over in Saudi Arabia. And what this is that either the government or the royal family in Saudi Arabia paid to have this happen. Right? Paid a lot of money. So they're doing a 50-man Royal Rumble, which is insane.
It's my favorite thing in wrestling.
And they're doing, like, all the big stars are like, every match that's going on there would be a main event match for a pay-per-view. So, like, the whole card is just main event stuff. Here's the puzzling thing about it. So, as the details come out about all of this, they find out that there's no women's matches going on, and there's no women there. Like, representing, going to be on TV, any of that stuff.
Okay.
Because Saudi Arabia doesn't allow it.
Okay.
Okay. So, puzzling, especially since WWE's been in the last few years been in the middle of this big women's revolution movement. They've been pushing them all up to the forefront. that they had accepted this deal, and it's a multi-year deal. Like, they're going to be doing once a year in Saudi Arabia, I think.
It's got to be a lot of money.
Oh, definitely is a lot of money.
That's what it is.
It's that oil money.
It's all that oil
money.
So they're going to do this.
How do you think the XFL's coming back? It's all Saudi Arabia.
Now, my question is, how do you think about this? Where, rightfully so, the WWE got a lot of backlash for them doing this. That there's no women being included in this. They're not allowed to perform. They're allowed to be there as fans. Women are allowed to be in the audience, but they're not allowed to perform. They're not allowed to be present on any of the television stuff.
And at first, they weren't even allowed to be in the crowd. But then because they have the modesty laws or whatever it is, so you can't be on the street without a guardian.
Right.
So at first they weren't allowed, but then they changed the rule to at least let them in there. Because I was like, oh my god, they can't even wrestle, they can't even go to the event. That's kind of fucked up.
Well, maybe that's the thing. Maybe it's all the outfits and what a diva portrays is really against.
They're not divas. They're superstars.
Oh, they're not divas anymore?
No, they got rid of that 2 years ago. Not diva. They're branded as superstars. A couple of weeks ago, maybe even a month ago, they did their first women's match anywhere in the Arab world in the UAE, United Arab Emirates.
Yep.
Is that what it's called? So they did a match there. The women performed, but they had to wear full-length bodysuits.
Yeah.
Sasha Banks usually has a top and shorts. Same with Charlotte Flair. They were wearing full-length spandex outfits to wrestling because they weren't allowed to reveal anything. So that was a huge step for that world, that society, that culture to allow women to wrestle. Here, absolutely not. Now, people have been saying, why would WWE even entertain this, accept the money, whatever? Triple H has said that in order to make change, you have to get a foot in the door there and start to reassess and rearrange everything inside of it. So the reason that they're doing this is to get their a footprint in that market so that they can hope in years to actually make change and do that, where they can start allowing women.
Yeah, you got to realize Saudi Arabia is 50 years behind us.
Lot more than that.
Yeah, well, I know. Well, that's what I'm saying. You got to.
Do you think they're doing the right thing, or is it that they shouldn't have accepted the money to do this at all until they allowed women to perform over there?
I have a couple of female friends who are very big on WWE, and they watch a lot, and they go to all the events, and they are very upset about it.
Okay.
Because they're like, the women's division's been doing so well, and it's become such a great selling point to go over there just for the money. Just for the money is such a sellout to that whole division that they've been working on, and it seems like bullshit.
Right.
And they're very upset about it.
Okay. Well,
what happens if it's not all about the money though? It's like what Eric just said.
Well, it's about the money. It's always about the money.
Yeah, it's always about the money.
But two, if what they're saying,
if
Triple H is, what they're saying is true, where hey, we need to get in the door in order to make change from the within. I can. Do you think maybe that is a reason behind it? Obviously, one, the money. We know that. But outside of the money, do you think that is a legit thing? Do you think that they're going to, it'll take a couple of years, but because they're there, they'll eventually gain influence in order to sway that culture or sway that law in order to allow that to happen?
I don't know.
You don't know you don't think that's a driving factor at all?
I just don't think that. I don't think that it's that powerful enough to change those laws that have been there for that long. You know what I mean?
I guess the only way
it could be a start.
It could be. I guess the only way we could see is to see where we are, within 5 years. If they still have the deal with Saudi Arabia, they're still going over there, and if nothing's changed, then I guess you kind of do we keep going back there, or do we leave?
Now, here's a question. Just it's completely different, but kind of the same.
Right.
Saudi Arabia's views on gays. They're against it? Do they look down on it?
I think it's punishable by death.
So do we have any?
I think so.
Do we have any?
I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure it's not.
Are there any gay wrestlers out there that are going to go there?
I know Finn Balor lately has been championing championing.
Go ahead. No, I want to see you try again. Go ahead.
That's all right. Has been.
What was the word? Eric, I don't know what you're talking about if you don't say the word.
Championing. The LGBT community. He switched his merchandise around to have the rainbow pattern within his own.
Okay.
Like, so you still have his outline, but it's rainbow colored. Percentages of his sales of his merchandise go to the there's one I forget the organization, but it's a very reputable organization within that community that helps them out. And I don't know if he's gay or not. I don't think he is.
But well, even that, is he going to Saudi Arabia?
I don't know. I don't if he's.
Is he part of the 50 man? Is he going to perform in a match?
Let's see.
Because if he does, then the whole leaving the women thing out is probably.
There's one female wrestler right now that is openly gay. And that doesn't matter because the women are going. I know she's not going and she's not wrestling there. I don't know about Finn. I don't know if he is. I know he's been a big advocate for the LGBT community lately. I just don't know if he ever revealed that he is.
Because if the WWE is allowing him to go and he's allowed to go and he's allowed to wrestle, I mean that's kind of groundbreaking right there. Then it's crap that the WWE didn't push the women card more.
Well, I mean that when it's against the law, how do you? It's
apparently
not pushing standards and boundaries.
Apparently
it's against the law.
Yeah, but is being gay though. They're saying it's punishable by death if they allow the gay guy in. Why can't they allow the women in?
Yeah, that's what.
Because maybe they don't know if he's gay or not.
He is wrestling. Oh, it's a ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship.
Oh yes.
So it's Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, Samoa Joe, and The Miz. So I guess he's not. You know, if he
shows up
again, not that anything's wrong with that, but you bring up a great point. I don't if being gay is punishable by death over there. I was like, oof, how does that work?
It is. I just looked it up.
I'm guessing that he's
not going to wear the colors that day. Then
they probably look. You need to go back to black and white for.
Dude, it says the law in Saudi Arabia here says that cross-dressing can be punished with floggings, life in prison, death, or torture.
All right, so if there's no openly, it's the same thing then. Yeah, so it's about the money, and
it's always about the money.
You hope that Triple H is saying the truth, or WWE is saying the truth in that statement that we're just trying to knock down the door slowly but surely.
Yeah, but that just sounds like Rocky at the end of Rocky 4, where he's like solved the Cold War. He's like, if I could, respect you, and you could respect me, you know what I mean? Like, it just sounds really stupid. I don't think that's gonna work.
I don't see anything. I think he's just maybe somebody in his family that's why he's championing the cause, or if he's just a good dude and that's why he's believing in it. But I don't see anything here publicly saying that he is. So
because that would be the same thing then. Because if they were able to slip that past Saudi Arabia, then the women's thing they should have pushed for.
Right.
But I guess not.
Well,
it's just another point.
One could be hopeful. I guess maybe if it is their mentality that look, if we can get our foot in the door over there, we can change things within, and then eventually get it to where the women can perform over there. Then you know what? Then WWE looks amazing by doing it this way. If they don't within a few years, then that could look really bad. And people can say you just did it for a huge payout,
Can we have some positivity and the hope for a change? Everyone's so negative.
Well, the news did point out too. It's like these, the royal family over there have paid millions of dollars to have like Beyonce come over there and perform at a birthday party.
Do remember that?
So anything's possible with this situation. Hopefully, it is going in the right direction, but who knows? They could have just said, "Look, we'll give you $100 million if you can do 5 shows here." Done.
They're
right, you can't have
$100 million, and we need a 50-person this, and they probably called all the matches, and they were like, okay, it was like Mr. Burns like arranging something, and everyone has to show like, ugh.
And you have to bring back all the old commentators.
My son
except Todd. Leave Todd there.
My son would like to be World Wrestling Federation champion. Well, we're not the World Wrestling Federation anymore. Well,
yes, you are now.
I want you to change the name back. Okay, we're doing it. We're WWF for the day, and your son will be now the champion of the company. And then we go back to Raw and pretend that storyline didn't happen.
Exactly.
All right, so let's take a break. We'll come back. We got to go over TV and radio stuff and then get out of here for this week. Just a reminder that there's some new episodes up on all our feeds, iHeartRadio app, and wherever else maybe you find the show. There's a bonus show up there with Brian Johnson and Ming Chen from Comic Book Men. You should go check that out. We had a good time. And then, of course, last week's show. There's another bonus show up there with our friends from Talking Simpsons and What a Cartoon. with Henry Gilbert and Bob Mackey. That's an informative show.
Bob Mackey?
That Bob Mackey, indeed. You should go check those out, download those shows. And if wherever you're subscribing to us, leave some reviews, some positive stuff. It does help us out with the program. Anything else before we go to break?
I got to pee.
Okay, we're going to go pee. We'll be right back.
All right, fine. Don't ask me.
It's Erik Nagel with Erik and Gittles. More next.
Attention. Shameless social media plug.
It's Erik Nagel is on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and reluctantly, Snapchat. So follow, like, and subscribe. Would you kindly?
Welcome back to It's Erik Nagel. That is me. Gittles over in the Upside Down. There's Trevor. Matt OG will be back with us next week. He's dealing with a family thing.
No, I like his seat and his microphone.
It's better than yours, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Well,
so much more comfortable.
Once we
That's the third round where you have to auction off. Get me a better chair.
That's the least of our concerns at this point.
Least of our concerns. You're lucky you're not like sitting on a milk crate.
I should just make you sit on the floor like the bad boy that you are in the corner.
That sounded dirty.
That's later. You're on time now, Trevor.
It sounded really dirty, Erik.
Checking out the box offices for last week. Number one, A Quiet Place, 22 million. So that's what, the second week in a row?
No,
Rampage was number one last week.
With its premiere, so A Quiet Place had it the week before.
All right, so it was number one, moved down to 2, and now back to number 1 again?
Yes, week 3, it's back to number 1.
That really says a lot about how good Rampage is, as Rampage is number 2 at 21 million.
But they're close. Both weeks, there was only $1 million difference both weeks in between them.
Yeah, well...
You ever know Rampage might beat Avengers this week?
Coming in at number 3, I Feel Pretty, 16.2 million. I don't remember what that is.
Amy Schumer.
Oh, right. That's not good. Unfortunately, I like Amy, but that's not going to do well. Number 4, debuting Super Troopers 2, which, look, that's not bad. I think they already made their budget back and everything at almost 15 million.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and they're not in it. They weren't open in as many theaters as everybody else was. They were much less, and if the fact that they're number 4 with 15 million, good for them. I'm sure they'll have a very solid theater run, and then DVD, Blu-ray on demand will really kick up for them.
A lot of my friends who love Super Troopers aren't going to go see it in the theaters. They're just like, it's not worth me driving out there. But Super Troopers,
it is.
Super Troopers 1 in theaters through its whole run only made 18 million. So for them to almost hit 15 on the first opening week, they got to be jacked up.
Well,
and if you go see Super Troopers 2, there is outtakes during the credits that are funny, and then there's a scene after all the credits too.
So they're doing a bit of a Marvel thing. So you got to
Spider-Man's in it.
Yeah, so you got to stick through the whole trailer, or the whole credits rather.
And that's for Super Troopers 2.
Yep.
And then coming in at number 5 with Truth or Dare, 7.9 million, which I refuse to watch.
Yes.
I did.
Was that opening weekend for Truth or Dare?
No. Truth or Dare came out on 2 weeks ago for the 13th, Friday the 13th.
Okay.
And it's been just hanging there ever since. I'm not going to watch that movie.
I think it went 3, 4, 5. Didn't it?
So that being said, with that, Super Troopers, I went and bust out the original movie this week to watch it, and I forgot so much about the movie. And watching it again, it was like I watched it for the first time.
You completely forgot Jim Gaffigan's in it?
Yeah, I forgot Jim Gaffigan, because they were making a big deal. I was reading something on it that said, Jim Gaffigan returns for the second one. I was like, what was Jim Gaffigan doing in Super Troopers? I forgot all about it. That
He's the meow guy.
Yeah, he was Mr. Johnson that got pulled over.
I'm sorry, are you saying meow? I saying meow.
So I watched the movie again. It was like I was watching it for the first time and just was laughing my ass off of how great that movie really is. They said that if this movie does well, it's going to open the some money up for them to do either they're going to do Pot League, like
Beer Fest?
Pot Fest. Sorry, Pot Fest.
Yeah.
Beer League is Artie's movie. Like Beer Fest, or they might do a sequel to Beer Fest. Like they have a couple of things.
There's a big cliffhanger at the end of Beer Fest.
I love Beer Fest.
It was
Das Boot.
I just watched it again the other day after Super Troopers.
Yeah, I got to watch it again beginning next week.
When they run into Willie Nelson at the end is always the best.
Club Dread was also really good.
You know what?
Never held it.
I didn't like it when I first saw it. I think I have to go back and revisit it because I did not like it. But that was years ago that I watched that movie.
Here's the thing about Club Dread. The first time I saw it, I hated it. I was like, this is one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
That's exactly what I thought about.
And second time I saw it, I knew what it was about, and I was like, oh my god, this movie's actually fucking brilliant. And it's like really funny. It's one of my favorite ones now. But I hated it the first time I saw it. It took me a couple of years to rewatch it because I thought it was that bad.
Well,
and then once I rewatched it, and it was so funny.
Gittles and I are for the most part, pretty on par with things that we enjoy in our viewing tastes. So if that's the case, then I'm going to go back and give it another shot. Maybe I will like it the second time around.
Especially now with like how many horror movies that have been out, and like because it's just a spoof on horror. So it's like it's so good. Like just go rewatch it. I'm telling you, you're going to love it.
Okay, so I will give that a chance then. But so I rewatched Super Troopers. What else did I catch up on? Oh, I love the Insidious franchise. Do you watch that at all, Trevor?
No, sounds like something
you've never seen it, Gittles?
No.
You should.
Anything I can't spell.
The first two are amazing. They're really good. It's in the realm of like The Conjuring, right? It's not as messed up as The Conjuring, but it's more of psychological than it is horror. Like Conjuring is psychological and it's horror. Like there's horrible stuff going on there. This is more it messes with your mind kind of deal. So the first two are great. The third one is a prequel that leads to the first and second, but then the fourth one came out and I guess is the gap between the prequel and the first movie. So they made the first two movies, and then the last two movies are before the first two movies.
Oh, Jesus.
The fourth one is very weak.
So the whole franchise is a Tarantino idea.
The fourth one is called The Lost
It's a time
Keys.
travel movie.
Watched it on demand, and it's very weak. It's the weakest one in the whole franchise there. But
Lost what?
But the what?
What's it called?
The Lost Keys.
Oh, okay.
And it's really, you think it's going to be more messed up than it is, and it really just kind of falls flat, a lot of it. But at the very end, it ties right into the first original movie, and you're like, oh, okay, that's how they got to this point. But I would just say watch the first two movies. It's not dumb like Paranormal Activity. Like that first movie was pretty good, and then all the ones that came out after it were just
trash.
They weren't trash, but you knew what was coming, and then they went into a whole weird, Salem witch thing, where that's why all the paranormal stuff was happening, because these women were witches, and it was the grandmother of the people who were originally had their house possessed, and like it was just a weird way to go to explain nothing. Like the first Paranormal Activity was great, and it launched a genre of horror and like psychological thriller kind of stuff, but that's as far as it goes. The rest of the paranormals you don't really need to. I mean, watch them and make your own decisions, but you can see how the rest of them don't really matter compared to the first one.
I based life off you. I'll take your word for it.
If you got nothing to do on a weekend, watch all 5 movies and see what you can think. Come out of it.
Yeah, watch all 5.
Yeah.
Spend 10 hours watching them, and then tell us if you like it.
So I caught up on that, and so that I was like, all right, well, my stories are. I'm done with the Insidious franchise, which was I expected a lot more of it, but that's what it was. I did not watch the Terminators, like I said I was going to. I'm getting to it. They're on the stack over there somewhere.
You got a stack of
Terminators. I told my friends that you hadn't seen like all the Terminators, and they were horrified. They were like. It was like I told them Santa wasn't real, and there were 4. Like it was just they were just like, what? Like how?
I have to give you, I guess, props because you have them.
Yes.
Who buys it in widescreen though? Anyway,
because they just put them on the label that it's widescreen, because a lot of people are still dumb and think that the movie needs to take up the whole screen.
It does.
It does. It's better that way.
It's not better in full screen.
What? I like my screen to be filled.
That's not what I'm talking about. There's some people that still have old televisions that look for full screen movies.
Yeah. I love that.
That's horrible.
I don't like that. Yeah, that's horrible.
That's horrible.
You're missing out on like half the movie.
Yeah, and what you're talking about is you don't want to see the bars on the top on a flat screen.
Yeah, my buddy has a basement and it's got an old TV and we watch things down there.
An old tube television.
Yeah, he's very cheap. And when we go down, that's like the place where we still go play like GameCube and stuff. We play it on the old TV because that's how we used to do it back in the day.
You're a horrible person and you have horrible friends.
We used to go to Blockbuster and would only get the full screen versions.
What is wrong with you?
You haven't seen Terminator 1 or 2, and they're both still in the plastic.
But they're widescreen. You're watching half the movie and not watching the other half of the movie.
You know what I've watched? Terminator 1 and 2.
Oh, go ahead. Be braggadocious about it. You watch the full screen movies, so you only watch 50% more of the movie than I did.
T2 is a great film if you've never seen it.
I'll watch these 2 movies, and then I can say I watched more of them than you did.
It's true.
It's true. It's damn true.
But you have to see it first.
Yes. So I will watch those. I did promise that. It's on my list. But because of our pals with What a Cartoon, I listened to one of their newer episodes where they broke down 2 episodes of Beavis and Butthead. And the audio they were playing, I have not watched. I own all the collections, but I have not watched them in so long. Like I didn't even watch when they brought them back to MTV. But I have the box set for the new run that they did.
It's right next to your Rap Terminator 1 and 2.
Right. So I was sitting there. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna break those out and watch them again because I remember them being very funny, and I loved that show. So they're playing this clip from an episode called The Substitute. And what happened is the original teacher, the hippie teacher, was trying to do some kind of yoga pose on his desk, fell off, broke his neck or whatever, and they just sat there.
That.
And then they had to wheel the teacher out, and they brought in the substitute. So the substitute was trying to be one of those guys like, I believe in kids and power, positivity, and that kind of thing. So the clip they played was the teacher walks over and he's walking through the class, and he comes over to Beavis and Butthead. He's like, hey, what's your name?
Lesson 1, people, enthusiasm. If you can't get into what you're doing, why do it at all? What's your name?
Joe?
Joe? Joe what?
Mama?
Joe Mama. Hey, that's great. Lesson 2, be creative. What's your name?
Jack.
Okay, Jack. Jack what?
Jack Mama.
And I couldn't stop laughing. I think I was in the store while I was listening to this. The fact that he went Jack Mama, I laughed so hard. I was like, I need to take that series out and watch them again because it was that funny.
Eric's like Mr. Burns, like, what was I laughing at again? Oh yeah, the crippled Irishman.
Oh,
like
yeah.
5 hours later, just laughing about it.
Different scenes are transitioning. I'm laughing while I'm driving home. I'm laughing while I'm getting gas. I'm laughing at the supermarket. I'm laughing while I'm cooking. I'm laughing as I'm taking a shower. I'm laughing as I'm trying to go to bed. I'm going to watch those again, probably bring those clips to the show. But I forgot and I know I always loved that show, and I loved their commentary during the music videos, but I forgot how funny that show really was, just because if you can understand that these are 2 of the worst people in the world, you cannot fix them, you can never change them, they just exist while everybody else is living their lives, then it becomes an amazing piece of work.
I loved them in the movie Airheads.
Where were they in Airheads?
Think about it.
I'm trying to... I remember Airheads that they were fighting to flip to becoming a fresh station.
Yeah,
you know.
But there's a point where
or
in the
jazz or something like that.
Listen to the breeze. That's what they were called.
That's what
listen
it was
to
called.
the smooth sounds of the breeze or something. No, there's a point where they're just playing rock and roll on the radio, and they decide to take callers, and one of the callers is Beavis and Butthead.
I forgot about that.
You're on the air.
Whoa. Am I on the air? Come on, buddy, give me the phone.
Am I speaking English? What'd I just say, dipshit?
Come on, buddy, no way. Shut up, Beavis.
So what do you guys want?
You guys are like the Lone Rangers, right?
Yeah.
We saw you guys at the Wheel Well last month. You suck. Yeah.
Hey, come down here and say that, you punk.
Damn straight, you can kiss my ass.
Hey, why don't you guys make all the chicks get naked? Yeah.
Usual crap of retard.
All right, I'll have to give Airheads another watch.
You got to watch a lot of things.
Also watch
if you have nothing to do on a Friday or Saturday.
Yeah, which is me. I also watched the season 2 premiere of Westworld.
I missed it.
Oh, nice. I didn't do that.
Now, let me just say the fact that you guys didn't see it, we're on the same page because I did see it, and I don't know what the hell that I saw. So I'm going to go and give it another watch. It's still on the DVR, but I was really trying to pay attention to it.
So the ratings for it are down, though.
Were they?
See, here's the thing. What HBO found out is that the ratings for the premiere are down from the season finale of season 1, but looking back at it, Westworld is the most rewatched show, like DV
from like HBO Go or something?
HBO Go and HBO Now. Like that's the most watched show, not like on time.
When you're a subscription channel like HBO, you can
get away with that.
Well, no, they can not that they can get away with it, but they're more lenient on a show when they go, look, When it airs, it does okay, but look, 3 days later is when people are really watching this, or on the on-demand numbers are through the roof. They're going to give it a full push, as if like a network sitcom that was number one on a Thursday night. They're going to say, hey, they're going to give it that show that same kind of treatment if they know their numbers are that solid.
Yeah, they canceled Vinyl. I like Vinyl.
People didn't like Vinyl.
I know.
They weren't watching it, and they weren't watching it on demand.
Well, I remember it got like strong ratings like right off the bat, but then it fell off hard.
You want to know? I'll tell you
Scorsese did the first two episodes.
It was like super expensive.
Yeah, I'll tell you something that's very funny about Vinyl. So within the first, it's either the first or the second episode.
Any show that shows me Ray Romano banging hookers, I'm down.
Yes, Martin Scorsese, did the pilot episodes or the first episodes for that. But Andrew Dice Clay was in the show, and he was killed off early on.
Yes!
Right? Dice was championing the fact that they killed him off too early, and that's why the show did horrible. And I love Dice. And if you don't follow his social media presence, you're missing out. Because his Instagram is becoming one of the funniest, most provocative things that I've ever seen. There's one video, I'll get back to Vinyl in a second, but there's one video where Dice is in the shower, and he's just sitting there going, the noises that he makes? And you're like, this is amazing. So follow Andrew Dice Clay on Instagram. But yeah, he was saying that, because they killed him off so early in the show, that's why it failed. And I want to believe that. I want to believe that Dice was so powerful that Vinyl did horrible because they killed him off so early in the show.
I'm going to find him right now.
But Westworld 2, I watched it. There's a lot of new shit going on that I don't fully understand. And it seems a bit more complicated than when you first watched the original season, where it was eventually, you didn't know what stuff was going on, but it was slowly building towards things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, we may go through the season, then look back at this first episode for season 2 and go, no, see, they were building towards things. But right now, there's so much happening. You're seeing so much different stuff.
Just like foot on the gas right out of the gate.
Yeah, there's obviously time lapses in the episode. That stuff is occurring at different times. It took a while to figure that out in the first season, that I realized you're watching two different timelines within the episodes. But it's pretty obvious in this first episode that you see that there's different timelines of stuff going on. But they put their foot on the gas right out of the garage there, and you're watching this whole thing. It's like,
what the hell did I just say?
I don't know. I know I was paying attention. I didn't have my phone on. I wasn't looking at the laptop, but I still don't know what it is that I got from this.
All right, well, I'm gonna have to watch this then because I don't know.
It's been a crazy week. I got to get on that. I've only watched.
I need to see it.
Very limited things.
Well, please get onto that so we can talk about it next week. The big thing for this weekend is the only thing anybody's going to really see is Avengers: Infinity War Part 1. It's already, the pre-sales are above any other movie in history, and that's the pre-sales. And they're now expecting, their projections are that this movie is going to do way better than Black Panther. And Black Panther did amazing. It had 4 or 5 week run at number 1 before it was knocked down, broke all kinds of records. There's still a few movies I don't think that it beat overall box office wise, but it broke $1 billion easily. And they're expecting, I don't know how they base their projections, but this isn't coming from Disney's projections. This is all those Hollywood outfit projections that that this will probably be the biggest movie ever made.
Well, I mean,
that's a bold statement, Con.
I mean, it's got every hero in it. It's got everybody. It's like the Expendables of the Marvel universe. It's crazy.
Now, I haven't...
Expendables.
That was a good...
I mean, it is.
It's true.
That is very
see
funny.
That poster? It's I can't tell what it is. It's is it the Coachella lineup, or is that how many fucking heroes are in this?
Now, I haven't seen every movie.
You know what? I'm going to tweet out right now.
That was good.
I didn't need to see the previous 10 years to understand Infinity. See if anyone gets that. Go ahead. You haven't seen what?
All the Marvel films. I've seen 90% of them.
All right, so you'll have a good grasp of everything.
But my main concern is I haven't seen Doctor Strange.
I would.
And I haven't seen any of the Thors.
I would.
Actually, that's all. I've seen them all except the newest, Spider-Man Homecoming.
Right.
All the Thors and Doctor Strange. Those are the
Doctor Strange was entertaining.
Spider-Man Homecoming isn't that big a deal because
I kind of get it.
That was more, they did it for the Sony side of Marvel, but it does tie into the MCU. Iron Man does make, or Tony Stark does make a couple of brief appearances in Homecoming. It was just the origin story of Spider-Man. But it doesn't affect as much of the story going into Infinity War, where Doctor Strange will. I went and rewatched it about a week ago, and I was like, oh my god, I missed all this stuff the last time I saw it. I'm glad I rewatched it, and I can see where it's going to place within. Look, here are the movies that they're going to fit in. If you saw Black Panther, then you'll understand some more of why Captain America is with Black Panther.
Yeah.
For at least from what we've seen from the trailers of the movie. Any of the Iron Mans will definitely help. The Thor movies, the last one, especially Ragnarok, will definitely help. The Guardians movies are going to be crucial into this.
Saw that.
Both movies are crucial to where they're going with Infinity War.
I saw that coming with 2.
Right. Ant-Man, I don't really think is going to play. He's in there, but his storylines aren't going to matter.
Apparently, I figured that since the Wasp, Ant-Man and the Wasp comes out later this summer. So
Ant-Man and Wasp.
Yeah.
So we know he doesn't die.
I know, spoilers, right? But I got my ticket. I'm going Saturday morning, like I always do.
Don't believe it.
I do. I have it.
I don't think you're going to
Gittles,
go
you going
see
to see it, or are you just going to move this weekend?
I'm just gonna move it. I don't know. I'll probably see it eventually. I'm gonna wait. I'm not like as hyped to see it as everyone else is. So I'll see when I see it. Yeah.
Because even people who haven't, like Trevor, hasn't seen some of the movies, but even people who are just very fair weather moviegoers or have kids that love the comic book movies and they've not really seen anything are gonna go. There's more people that are going to see this movie than not.
Yeah, I mean, I'll eventually see it. I'm not like in a rush to see it right away. Like if things get spoiled for me, I'm not going to be upset. You know what I mean? Like I'm not that invested in the universe.
Right.
Okay.
So
I'll probably see it relatively soon. I just don't believe that you're going to see it. I think you're going to get in your car and all 4 wheels are going to fall off or something.
Yeah, all 4 wheels are going to fall off. He's going to have to push it to the theater, and then he's going to get there and be like, "Oh, we actually gave up your seat, man."
There's no popcorn. I can't watch a film like this.
And then he's going to be like, "I got my Stubbs card. Give me a seat." And then they're
theater
like,
will
give him
go
a
on
seat
fire.
at the wrong theater.
Yeah.
They put him in Revengers 4. It's like, what is this?
That's the porn knockoff.
Yeah, it's like, ugh.
Speaking of porn knockoffs, have you seen the Solo movie posters for the new Star Wars?
No,
movie
you got me
in?
excited though. I'm sorry.
If you look at them, they're horrible. They're very like the photoshopping on it is really bad. And apparently there was a thing that they weren't allowed to show guns in the poster. You know how Han has his
the blaster.
His blaster? They weren't allowed to show the blasters in the posters.
Really? That's like one of his most iconic poses.
I know, but it's not in any of the posters. So people were wondering, was there some kind of, like E.T. rule? Remember when Spielberg redid...
oh, yeah, he changed all the guns to walkie-talkies.
Yeah, redid E.T. for the anniversary when they re-released it. He took... there's a scene where, initially, Elliot has E.T. in the basket, and he's got the white blanket over it, and they fly over the agents to escape.
Yeah.
The agents are crouched down on the street, with the car, the patrol cars and everything, and they have guns.
Yeah.
It was re-edited that they have walkie-talkies in their hands.
So stupid.
Yeah, it was, and people got all pissed off. But Spielberg had said at the time, he said, "Look, had I known what I know now back then," he goes, "I wouldn't have included guns to begin with because it's a kids movie." But I mean, take it as for whatever you want, but it looked bad that you went and re-edited everything. But the new
I always thought they
posters
had
now,
the guns in case they had to shoot E.T., not the kids.
Yeah. It's because you're smart.
No, look, see, because those are the posters like that. They took the blasters out of them, and they look like bad. Like when I was saying the porn covers, when they do. How
many porn covers have you seen to make that comparison?
Well, they used to send it to us at Opie and Anthony all the time. We're like, Seinfeld, XXX, Three's Company, XXX.
Really?
Yeah. That company would send us those porn interpretations all the time.
And where do you keep that here?
We don't. We got rid of them. When I got somebody left on my desk, it says The Simpsons XXX. I smashed it and threw it into the garbage. I'm like, I can't look at that.
No, you've never seen that?
I saw the artwork for the front, and they're all painted yellow, and I'm like, nope, not doing this.
They are painted yellow.
Dude, I can't take those ads on a porn site where they have the animation, like the cartoons doing stuff. It freaks me out. I can't do it.
What do you mean it freaks you out?
I close out of the page. Like, I can't look at this stuff. I can't.
Like, it ruins your whole jerk-off time? Like, if
I
you're
can't,
like, this is my alone... Oh, there's Lois getting banged.
I can't look at that stuff. It's I don't know. It's too horrific for me. Can't do it. Can't do it.
I'm just going to start texting you picture messages.
No.
You're going to open them up.
Just keep sending it to him.
It's just going to be Brian banging Meg.
Well, what a lovely way to end tonight's program.
Oh, we didn't talk about any of the stuff I want. No, I'm joking.
What did you want to talk about?
Brockmire's back, and I watched the first episode, season 2, with Hank Azaria.
Oh, you want to? All right, we'll do Hank Azaria.
And we gotta do Hank
Azaria.
I figured too.
All right, so yeah, Brockmire it's on IFC.
IFC.
I saw the first season. It's really good.
Oh my God, it's great.
Hank Azaria plays a washed-up major league sports announcer who, because of drinking and then finding out that his wife was cheating on him, caused a whole to-do and wound up getting fired, and now he's back in the bush leagues, traveling from small town to small town, trying to get work, and then he winds up at a single A ball club, and living his life in this town in the Rust Belt. And it was a very good show. I haven't seen the start of season 2. I got to go and watch that. But that's not the big news with Hank Azaria. The big news is that he was on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert this past week.
Well, that's the tour he's on. He's on the Brockmire tour.
Right, he's promoting Brockmire. But he spoke about the Apu situation with The Simpsons. And Stephen Colbert asked him not only about the documentary, but the way The Simpsons answered it this about a week or so ago, where they said, you can't, something along the lines of, you can't judge stuff by in the past. All you can do is, do stuff for the future, or not change it at all. And they looked at a picture of Apu on Lisa's nightstand and then stared directly into the camera, pretty much saying that The Simpsons are not going to acknowledge this any further, and they're not going to do anything about it.
Yeah.
Hank Azaria said that he would like to see, South Asian writers be brought into the writer's room to write for the character, and maybe not just for the character but for other ideas and all this other stuff. And it just seemed really uncomfortable and out of place. And I think because he had to do it, he says no, this was his thought. He didn't see what The Simpsons had done, their answer to it, until it actually aired. He wasn't a part of that, had nothing to do with it. It wasn't the scene that he was involved in. But he thinks that they should bring in people to deal with this character, or it comes off as the
politically correct answer.
The politically correct answer for oh, I'm a guilty white guy kind of response.
What else is he gonna say?
No, I know he's not going to.
But he's also talking about that he's not going to do the voice of him anymore until this happens.
I think no, he didn't.
Didn't he say he's not going to do the voice? I don't.
No,
it's been a weird 72 hours.
He says he doesn't know what the answer is, but he would like to see if they brought in other people, to write for him, that would be more appropriate. I think he just had to say that, right? I don't think they're going to change anything. If they do, Matt said a couple of weeks ago when we talked about this initially that they should just kill off the character, and I wasn't sure about that. Now I'm like, just kill the character off or phase him out, like Miss Krabappel.
Just kill off the whole show at this point.
Well, they're going to go for look, they're in season 29 right now. They're going to do one more year. They'll do 30 seasons. They'll sign off and then be done with it. But either don't make Apu a part of the stories and just let him be, obscure off to the side, or phase him out. Kill him off. Do something.
Yeah.
I'm perfectly. Yeah. All right. So I heard that secondhand, but now I get it. The direct quote is, "I'm perfectly willing to step aside and not do Apu anymore if I feel like it's the right thing to do, or if these new writers think that I shouldn't be doing it." That's dumb.
No.
He's Apu.
So what are you going to do? You're going to edit him out of 30 years of... And look, I get in the sense that they're like, oh, it's a stereotype. All right, but a lot of things come because of stereotypes are because of real things. The way that stereotype is then later projected is wrong, but stereotypes exist because something existed that way to begin with. So What are you gonna do? You're gonna cancel and write him out or edit him out of 30 years of programming? He wasn't made to look like an idiot.
No,
he was a goofy guy, but he was very smart. They gave him great storylines.
Well, if you think about it, we've seen
he was treated very seriously.
We've seen him own his own business, run it, and keep it open. Get married, have kids, get divorced, sing in a barbershop quartet. I mean, he lived the American dream.
He did everything, and he was treated just as goofy and ridiculous as everybody else in that world. He wasn't made fun of for his accent. He wasn't made fun of for being Hindu. He was treated just as great or as poorly as everybody else was in that show. Just because he was one guy doing the voice that wasn't an Asian guy now. Like, say at the beginning of the show when they did Apu and they had a South Asian guy, a Hindu guy, somebody speaking as Apu. You go 30 years. Who expected the show to go 30 years? Nobody, right?
Fact.
So go 30 years. Then would people still complain, I've been called Apu all my life because of this character? Okay, but then it was played by, somebody of your heritage. It was written by people of your heritage. Do you still have the same excuse to say that, I don't like being called this guy because of this character?
No, it's stupid.
It is stupid.
It's just the Simpsons. Like, they spoof everybody though. Are they going to do the problem with Willie or like Bumblebee Man
or
like the Italian
guy?
chef guy?
This is a very slippery slope that could start. And you're right, just end the whole entire Simpsons universe.
Right.
But then again, no one's. But that's the thing. There's no drunk Irish people complaining about Willie or Scottish.
He's Scottish.
Scottish.
But it's not just this show. Then what there's another. I want to say it's a Disney show that there's a black character being voiced by a white guy, and that's starting to become a bit of an issue now. This animated show where they found out that the voice of the black character is a white kid, and people are starting to make a big deal about that. Like, why isn't a black kid the voice of the black kid?
That's a good point.
I mean, is it really that bad if the character's treated
depends.
seriously?
Is he a racist character?
No,
that's what we need to know.
No.
Oh yeah, they just don't like the Gittles.
I don't know.
All right. Well, we're not going to have the answers for all this. I just think it's all ridiculous. The show's got another year left in it. It'll be done. And then we move on.
I mean, it's just The Simpsons. They've literally spoofed everything. Like, right. They're supposed to be a caricature of American life, and it's like that's the point of the show.
And stupid Cal Penn, who I did like, but when I watched the Apu thing, he's in there talking about how horrible Apu is in The Simpsons. It's like you were in Harold and Kumar,
Yeah.
You were Taj in Van Wilder, which was really playing up the stereotype of what it is. Yeah, like he was really turning it on. He's from Montclair, New Jersey. He lives 20 minutes from here. And he was a highly educated, young man. He doesn't speak like that at all. And then he went on the movie for Van Wilder. Just watch how he played Taj. And even the second one where
did Taj get a spinoff?
Yeah, where Ryan Reynolds wasn't even in the second one. It was all about Taj taking over Van Wilder's thing at the college and becoming the big man on campus. But he was all, living out the stereotype and all that. And he's one of the main voices on there complaining about this whole thing. It's like...
Yeah, it's because all of a sudden he was on House and now he's isn't he some political type guy now?
Well, he did a serious piece about... forgot what it was called.
Well, wasn't he part of the White House team?
For a little bit. He did stuff for Obama. Yeah, but you can't do one thing and then not acknowledge that you did that and blame the other thing for when they're doing the same exact thing that you're doing. And if anything, I think they treated Apu with a bit more respect than how Taj and Kumar were for those characters. Where Apu is what he is, but he's never not been included as part of the neighborhood, not included in.
And I don't like the representation of potheads. Like, it's just not fair. Like, just always trying to get munchies and doing crazy things. No, sometimes we like to fall asleep without realizing it while watching TV.
Yeah, well, the world just keeps continuously getting more and more messed up. With that being said, we should probably end the show here. Let's go around the room and do the plugs. Gittles, what do you have?
Gittles on the Twitter, Instagram, and Xbox Live. I won't be on for a couple days because I'm in the process of moving, but new season of Overwatch is starting up soon, so I'm going to do my placement matches, and hit me up. Let's play.
And congratulations on your taco takedown. We didn't get to talk about that.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Took first place and third place.
First place in what? The People's?
People's Choice.
Right.
Which is the one like anyone who comes can vote on, and then Judge's Choice, we got third place.
And that's amazing that you placed that high both with vegan tacos.
Yeah, people weren't expecting it. We came out of nowhere with these really amazing vegan tacos and just blew everyone's minds. Like, people were like, I can't believe this isn't meat. We're like, yeah, damn right, because we just did it right.
Oh, thanks for being humble about it.
I like one of your friends commented on the photo that's on Instagram.
Yeah.
So it's like, how many of those Cuisinart those grill pans or something do you have?
Too many.
Yeah, you have way too many.
That's why it's taking so long for him to move. He's got to move 18 of the same pan.
Dude, it looks like I robbed a freighter from Bed Bath & Beyond. Me moving. It's just a blender, hand mixer. A
lot of Green Mountain K-Cups.
Yeah, seriously. If anyone's going to a wedding soon and you need a cheap gift, hit me up on Twitter. I'll sell you some discount stuff here. I got some blenders. I got some food processors. I got a lot of shit.
You got any of those Mr. Mixers still where you can make your own mayonnaise and peanut butter?
I need a cheese
hand
grater.
blender. Yeah, we actually made our own vegan mayonnaise for the takedown, and it was amazing.
Emulsifier? Is that what it's called?
No, it's a hand blender.
Oh, okay.
The stick blender. You go.
Trevor, what do you got to promote?
It's a blender. You go.
At BTG Rocks on the Xbox Live. I actually, as we were sitting here, just got word that Fortnite is falling apart. Literally, it's falling apart. They're sending meteors down while you're playing, so you can just be playing.
Can one of the weapons be one of those hand blenders?
Apparently. I wonder what sound it would make when it killed somebody. No, the whole season, there's been some kind of meteor in the sky, and everyone was trolling, saying it's going to destroy the most popular part of the map, and on a certain date, and it didn't happen. So everyone thought it was
Planet
over.
X.
But the season's almost over, and all of a sudden today, there's only 2 weeks left, meteors are just coming down. So you could just be running and trying to hide, and a meteor could just come down and kill you.
That's awesome.
So
just like real life.
Yeah. So find me on Fortnite.
IHeartRadio for me across the board on social media and Xbox. We tried PUBG last week.
Terrible!
It was okay. I'm going to try Fortnite and see what all the fuss is with that. For the show, it's Erik Nagel across the board. If you go to itseriknagel.com, we've updated the structure for the links so that anywhere that you need to find how to listen to the show, it's a lot easier now. So if you go there, it's all in one spot to find all our social media, all the places where you can download the show. But more importantly, the iHeartRadio app should be your main concern for getting the program here. Matt OG will return with us next week. We'll have reviews of Avengers Infinity War Part 1. I'm hearing nothing but great things, and I'm very excited that I'm going on Saturday morning to go see this movie.
No, you're not.
I think that's it. All right. Good. Looking around the room, I guess we're good. Till the next time, everybody, be excellent to each other, and we'll be seeing you.
It's Erik Nagel. And that's all the time we have. Follow the show at It's Erik Nagel on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Unless we do something stupid or something better comes along. We'll be back next time.